So the laws of Yom Tov. Okay, so we're still on Preface. So let me see how I. 1 second. Okay, so in this unbelievable introduction to the Sefer, so it's unbelievable. So it's like all of the technical laws, do this, don't do this. It's very nice and it's very, very important, absolutely. But you have to also create this Yom Tov atmosphere, the atmosphere of holiness there, when you feel like in a Gan Eden, as we said last time, right? Gan Eden and earth, literally. Okay. So next piece, topic, Yom Tov in a Beis Hamikdash. At the time of the Beis Hamikdash, every Jew tangibly savored this Yom Tov paradise. To be sure, the paradise accompanies us to tell ends of the earth, but with nowhere near the intensity that was manifested in the Mikdash, where it shone forth like the sun in the midday. 3 times every year, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, the 3 pilgrimage festivals, Shalosh Regalim, every Jew who lived in Eretz Israel was expected to bring his family to Yerushalayim when he went to celebrate with HaShem. Okay, so let's do this piece, and we're going to explain every word what it says here. So from the beginning, in the time of the Beis Hamikdash, every Jew tangibly savored this Yom Tov paradise. And today we live, we're trying to understand by allusion, it's like this, like that, right? It's hard, of course, but in the days of the Beis Hamikdash, you just come there, and our sages say there was no literally prayer there. There is no prayer. There is no special speeches in order to do teshuvah. You just see what's going on in the Beis Hamikdash, all of these miracles, all of these things that are going on, the aura of the place, and you feel like you're in paradise. And you do teshuvah right there. To be sure, this paradise accompanies us to all ends of the earth, but without nowhere near the intensity that was manifested in the Mikdash. So as we said, I don't know, some time ago, so this paradise, this atmosphere of the holidays, so whatever it was in Beis Hamikdash, of course in a small measure, but it's actually accompanying us. Wherever the Jew is, the holiness is, this holiness of the holidays. So it's accompanying us. It's not like, and some people feel something better in Yerushalayim. Yeah, you feel for sure. You feel holiness, yes. In Jerusalem, especially when you pray there in Old City, it's unbelievable. Yes, it's an unbelievable experience, but anyway, not in the same intensity, but the same thing. So it's up to us if we want to accept it and feel it. Right? When it says, make the Mishnah, where the shone forth like the sun at the midday. There, okay, for us it's less, but it's still here. 3 times every year, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, 3 pilgrimage festivals, Shalosh Regalim. Right? Every Jew who lived in Eretz Israel was expected to bring his family to Yerushalayim when he went to celebrate with HaShem. So at least I would say all of the men would have to go. So of course, elderly people would not come. It's very hard. Women also, not all of them would come. You have to take care of the children, this and that. But some of them would come. It's very interesting. And we just have to understand one of the miracles, as it says in Pirkei Avos, nobody ever complained that Yerushalayim is very crowded on holidays. So how is it possible? The whole nation comes into one city, and it's not big. If you've been in Jerusalem, it's a tiny city compared to other metropolis. It's tiny, right? And all of the nations, I don't know, like 15, 20, 30 million people would come to this town, and it would be enough place for everybody, and everybody would fit in on the Moriah mountain. Like how is it possible? You understand? So that's you see these miracles, and as I just said, nobody ever complained that it's not enough place. Upon arriving to the Mikdash, every man enthusiastically brought 3 sacrifices. So we would go Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot 3 times. Okay. And on Shavuos, just so we know, since it was only 1 day in that time, so our sages gave us actually another 6 days, so altogether 7 days, as all the other holidays, to bring sacrifice. Because I mean, today you take plain it lens with God's help at exactly the same time, or approximately the same time, so there is no problem. But in olden days, how do you know? You think you're going to travel 1 week, but it came out to be 17 days, right? So you never know what is going to happen and all of these things on the road, right? So that's why our sages gave us extra time. So technically we have 1 week for each holiday, right? And and we would need to bring sacrifice. So, and this is not the holiday sacrifice. It's not. It's it's a sacrifice for you coming to the Beis Hamikdash, for a visit of the Beis Hamikdash. So let's see. Enthusiasm. So they brought 3 sacrifices, and then Ola, for the right to see and be seen by HaShem. Right. So of course you can combine with other people. There is no problem. And what is it? Shalmei Hagiga. So for the additional privilege of celebrating the experience together with his children. So Hagiga. Even those just old enough to walk from Yerushalayim to the Mikdash, right? So the people who lived in Yerushalayim, and Shalmei Mischo, Simcho, Shalmei Simcho, for the joy of being a Jew, very interesting, who must share the sacred testiness of the korban, not only with the wife and children, but even more important, with any unfortunate Jew incapable of purchasing Shalmei Mischo, Simcho, by himself. So three sacrifices, all offering. Of course, as we said, you can be a part of the group. It's not like otherwise it would be too expensive. And this, the way I understand, maybe we're going to see later, you would not, you're not allowed to bring all of the sacrifice on the holiday itself. It's like in these intermediate days, because it's too much. It would be too much. They would be busy non-stop with these offerings. Okay, so one is all offering. One is Shalmei Hagiga, for additional privilege celebrating experience together with his children. So for we have to be appreciative that we have family. And the third one is Shalmei Simcho, right? So for like what is it? For like celebration. Okay, continue. However, there is no way these mitzvahs could have been fulfilled unless every man, woman, and child knew with a certainty that the paradise awaiting them in a holy city. Other than Gan Eden, there is no earthly pleasure or a combination of pleasures that could entice any individual, let alone the entire nation, to endure the material sacrifice and physical hardship these thrice yearly trips demanded. So, and let's do it again. And it's so true. Like today, for example, today some people do not like to travel. So for example, after some time, I don't like to travel. So I better stay where I am. So I mean, unless it's so special, like for these people, especially in olden days. So today you travel, it's luxury. You sit in your car, or you get in a taxi. They drive you to airport. You fly. Like everything is ready. Restrooms. All of these things like food, everything is ready. But in olden days, it was not like that. People sometimes would sleep outside, the whole family. So it's dangerous, right? Snakes, scorpions, other things, bandits. So one more time this paragraph. However, there was no way for these mitzvahs could have been fulfilled unless every man, woman, and child knew that certainly that the paradise awaited them in the holy city. So unless they would know there is something very, very special, they would not go. They would not go, right? So, right, all the sacrifice, and you have to bring with you food or money or this or that. You have to bring something that to cook this food. If you have to go walk 7 days, 8 days, 10 days, so it's a big deal with animals, with children, women, sick people. Some time will go. A lot of things. Okay, so unless it is you foreseen the paradise, nobody will go. Other than Gan Eden, there is no earthly pleasure or combination of the pleasure that could entice individuals. So they would not go unless they know or somebody told them about this amazing feeling of paradise in Yerushalayim on the holidays. Let alone the entire nation to endure the material sacrifice. So of course they would leave everything behind, right? So if you don't take care of your farm, let's say they were farmers, things might get damaged, and somebody have to feed the animals. Maybe somebody goes to steal the animals, this and that. So it's of course material sacrifice, and physical hardship, right? To go try to sleep outside one day, right? And 3 times a day, 3 times a year. Who but Hashem's children going home to their father could feel secure, forsaking all of the material possession. In effect, majority of the country was abandoned to the whims of the bandits and enemies, right? So that's a special praise to the Jewish nation, right? One more time, but who but the Hashem children going home to their father could feel secure, forsaking all my material possessions. So all of the borders were open. There were no army, so everybody would go. And we had this clip actually, and we calculated it was I don't remember exact number, but 80 something years, I think. Like from if you calculate to stay in Yerushalayim 1 week, go there 1 week, in average, go back 1 week, so 3 weeks, and multiply it 3 times, right? And all this 830 years when the Beis Hamikdash was standing. So it was like 80 something years, plus minus, right? When all of the borders were open and all of the non-Jews, they knew what's going on. They could have just crossed the river, just come from the desert, across the border, and that's it, and take possession, just steal. Forget about conquer the land, just steal. Simply, nobody ever did it. Why? Because Hashem in His Holy Torah, and in that clip we actually provide the source, when Hashem said, "You come to me to see me, I'm going to take care of your security. Don't worry about it." Very interesting. In fact, the majority of the country was abandoned, as we said, and the women and bandits and enemies, and nobody ever attacked. Of course, they would steal here and there, but armies would never invade. Between all of these things, yes, we had wars, constant wars, but on the holidays, no problem. Continue. Consider the bother preparing the large family for these extended trips. All packing of clothing, bedding, food, and culinary supplies. Right, so you have to take it. There were not so many hotels, and many people, especially in the beginning of the second Beis Hamikdash, was very poor, very very poor. Only poor people came. Rich people staying back in Babylon. Right. Okay. So he said everybody's going, right? So you cannot leave the small children behind. You have to take them with you. You have to bring the food supplies, cooking utensils, all those things. Continue. Picture the trek by foot to the holy city. Although the sizable amount may have traveled by wagon, it took numerous pilgrims 2 weeks to go one way. So when we say one way, right? 1 week one way. So it was very very average, very average. So he says here 2 weeks. Okay. This means they spend 3 months a year, a month per holiday, just traveling. just travel, of course, but plus 1 week to stay there, right? Not only 1 week, it's 8 days, because it's not proper to live esrog, right? Right after the holiday, it's still semi-holiday, so we still stay there. It's very interesting. So one more time, picture the trek of by foot to the holy city. So if you look like from the helicopter, all these people walking with animals, with wagons, of course, all over from different directions to the holy city. Although sizable amount may have traveled by wagon, it took numerous pilgrims 2 weeks to go one way. But even by wagon, you have so many people on the road. There were no like highways, right? This means they spend 3 months a year, 1 month per holiday, just traveling. After such an exhausting trip, how could anyone look forward for aligning in overcrowded city? Alighting in overcrowded city, teeming with millions of visitors, only to crane into the apartment with who know how many families, or to camp in the streets with hardly a place to walk. Okay, so and we have to understand, as we said before. So one more time, this piece we're going to explain. After such exhausting trip, so they were walking for two days, right? It's very uncomfortable to be on the road, right? For 2 weeks, 1 week, doesn't matter, right? How could anyone look forward for alighting in an overcrowded city? So many people. There were no special hotels. I mean, there were inns, like regular one, but people would stay with other people, other residents of the city. Right, and the way I understand, they were not allowed to charge them for staying. Of course, you must give some gifts, but charge for the room, they were not allowed. Right, so like okay, you spend this 1 week, let's say 2 weeks on the road, right, and now you're going to overcrowded city. So it's not the size today. It's only like old city. I'm not sure what is the difference. Is when the border was like an old city, how is it different from current old city? I'm not sure. Okay, because this all around old city, it's from maybe 15th century. I think it's not that old. Okay. Okay. So teaming with other millions of visitors to cram into apartment with who knows how many families, or to camp in a street and hardly a place to walk. So there is no showers, just to remind, there is no showers, and there is no bathrooms. Okay, so that's the condition. Okay, the climax of the trip was their communication with HaShem, their communion with HaShem, as they stood at Beis Hamikdash for the better part of each day, pressed together in such a concentrated mass that if someone fell asleep, it would be impossible for him to fall on the floor. The the Mishnah sums up the phenomenal miracle, which took place 3 times a year for over the 800 years. In one verse of this, in one terse sentence, no man ever said to his friend, "I feel crowded in Yerushalayim." That's from Perkios, right? So one more time, the climax of the trip was their communion with HaShem as they stood in the Beis Hamikdash for the better part of each day, pressed together in such a consecrated mass. So everybody would, all of the men in the men's section, women upstairs in the women's section. So it was so many people. And if you see the size of the Beis Hamikdash, of course it was open miracle. I'm not sure how many people would naturally can fit there. I don't know, few tens of thousands. I don't know, not more than that. But now we're talking about millions, right? Of course it was crowded. So right, each day, so they would stand there while the Kohanim would do the procedure, the sacrifices, and Levites would sing the songs, and all of these miracles would be performed in the Beis Hamikdash. and if someone fell asleep, it would be impossible for him to fall on the floor. So I think if somebody has a claustrophobia would not be able to go there. Like a person would be very scared because there is no way to move until people that close to the exit start moving. You start there forever. Very interesting. So the Mishnah says this miracle, which took place 3 times a year for over 800 years. So 830 years. That's what how long this 2 Beis Hamikdashim stood. Right? No man ever said to his friend, "I feel crowded in Yerushalayim." So, and there are a few explanations to this verse. None, some literal, some figurative, but it's very interesting. Still, no complaint. Doesn't matter what was it. No complaints.